Thank you all for coming. If you could please silence your cell phones, they're not already done. Hallie would appreciate the wonderful turnout that came out today. I'm sure it would mean the world to her to know that so many people loved her and cared so deeply. So I'm going to start with a eulogy, and then we'll be doing the Psalms, and then we'll have other eulogies from her family members afterwards. Hallie and I met about 4 or so years ago. It was love at first sight. I knew right there and then when I saw her that she was the one for me. But she had lots of problems that she just couldn't deal with. And she suffered, so I could feel the pain in her heart and soul. She loved me weird, and we had it all. But now that she's gone, the world can no longer have with her. Sometimes I felt I was built of metal and could not be broken, but not when I was with her. She wanted to run away with me, but we got caught up in the game of life, thinking we needed security more than happiness. We ignored the importance of what life was all about. Love of ourselves, family, and friends. We had the kind of love that makes you feel young. Maybe in another life, I will find her again. She was pulled away before her time, and I can't bring back what's been taken from me. I can't deal with this pain, and it's so unfair. I reach to the sky and call out her name, and it feels like heaven is so far away. If I could trade places, I would. And it stings, and it is so cold now that she's gone away. I hope she's found peace. The struggles she endured in her short time here were immeasurable. She was too good for this world, and it did not deserve her. I will never forget her. She will always be a part of me forever and will live on in my heart. I hope to make her proud in memory. We would sing together, pick each other up when feeling down. She was so amazing in every way you could possibly imagine. I may never love again, but that's okay. Having known her was well worth it. Hallie loved to dance and sing. She was my other half. Even when we fought, we both knew that no one would understand us like we understood each other. Is Psalm of David, Psalm 23. Hashem, who may sojourn in your tent, who may dwell on our holy mountain, one who walks in perfect innocence and does what is right, and speaks the truth from his heart, who has no slander on his tongue, and who has done his fill of no evil, nor cast disgrace upon his close one, in whose eyes a contemptible person is repulsive, but who honors those who fear Hashem, who can swear to his detriment without retracting, who lends not his money on interest, nor takes a bribe against the innocent. The debt of those shall not falter forever, or the doer of these shall not falter forever. Thank you. Next we'll be reading will be Rabbi Roberts. Ready?
Debbie and Mark, Michael and Aaron, Sam, Greg and Jeremy, Alav Shalom, and grandparents Renee and Harold and Harvey and Hinky, Alav Shalom as well. And friends, especially Liz and Julia and Lauren and Lisa and the roommates and all of you who come to be with this family. Sometimes as a rabbi, you're put in an awkward position, for you are called upon to speak at a funeral when you really did not know the person well, as in my case with Hallie. I didn't have the opportunity to know her, for she wasn't a member of our congregation, but I do remember her. I remember her speaking as a 15-year-old at her brother's Jeremy's funeral and being so emotional as a big sister who adored her youngest brother. I remember her at other life events in which I was called upon to officiate as kind of the unofficial rabbi of the family. As a rabbi, you learn to listen. And listen I did the other night as Debbie and Mark and Michael and Aaron and Greg spoke their hearts and their anguish to me. And so this eulogy really reflects the words that a mourner finds difficult to speak at a moment like this. I often tell mourners when we cut Kriya that if you can tell me how children come into this world with fingers and toes and eyes that have over 2 million working parts, or with teeth that decay and need to be filled, then I'll tell you why death happens. But you have to tell me the first part. You know, life is a mystery. It's beyond our understanding. And living is a mystery. And just having Hallie represents the miracle of life. A graduate of Solon High School, she went on to the Ohio State University and later got her master's in teaching from John Carroll University. And personally, I'm jealous of her because to think how good she was in languages. She loved Spanish, taught it to the students at Barnesville and Canterbury and Monticello, the lovely letters that she just got from the members of the class that, praising her. She loved the Spanish culture and conveying this to her students. Maybe this ability in language came from her music talents. They say that this is true. The fact is, when you have music talents, language comes much easier to you. In fact, she played the guitar and piano and also the trumpet in the high school marching band. Hallie was smart, adorable, had a big, wonderful smile. She was effervescent and outgoing and had that magnetic personality. She had a big heart, lots of friends who adored her, as those that I mentioned, Liz, her best friend, and Julia and Lauren and Lisa, and I'm leaving names out, I know. She loved her cousins and aunts and uncles, a special relationship with her grandmother, Renee, over there, and a wonderful relationship with her Papa Harold and with Harvey and Hinkle, Zechrona Livracha. She was a great tennis player, played on the tennis team in high school, played baseball. She loved the Indians. In fact, she just went to the playoffs the other night. She liked biking and was persistent in whatever she did. She was a hard worker, goal-oriented, loved to travel, went to Spain and Portugal and London, Israel, and Egypt, went on the Birthright program. I forgot to mention that she was also a great cook. Cranberry sauce, soups, baking. She was a creative cook, kind of spontaneous. I love the stories about Hallie being a big sister to her brother, Craig, including the story, you'll have to ask Craig about piercing his ear and not telling the mother, of course, Debbie saw it right away, but he tried to hide it from her. Greg saw his sister as creative, intelligent, and often sought her advice. I also heard, unfortunately, the numerous losses that Hallie experienced during her adolescent years. Of course, her brother, Jeremy, and then several of her friends in high school died of different causes. And then Papa Howard and grandparents Harvey and Hinkle. All of these losses added up and probably led to the darkness in her life, which she fought constantly. She kind of walked around, as the family said, with a full plate of burdens that often overwhelmed her. Everyone tried to encourage her. Everyone tried to save her. Sam, I heard when you and I talked on the phone yesterday, your deep love and how you did love her. And as we heard you express here, you tried to be one of those who attempted to be her savior, to understand her heart and her. Your wedding and the early days of married life were a wonderful time for the two of you. And then, unfortunately, the demons snatched her again, and all of us became frustrated. So frustrated. Now, not really knowing what Hallie would say, I surmised that the last thing that she wanted to do was to hurt all of us. So I imagine that she might have left us with these words of a poem, which is called When I'm Gone. When I come to the end of my journey and I travel my last weary mile, just forget, if you can, that I ever frowned, and remember only my smile. Forget unkind words I have spoken. Remember some good I have done. Forget that I ever had heartache, and remember I had lots of fun. Forget that I stumbled and burdened and sometimes fell by the way. Remember I have fought some hard battles and won ere the close of the day. Then forget to grieve for my going. I would not have you sad for a day. But in summer just gather some flowers and remember the place where I lay. And come in the shade of the evening when the sun paints the sky in the west. Stand for a few moments beside me and remember only my best. So we say to Hallie Wolf, L'chiba Shalom, go now in peace, be in peace. And we as a congregation say, Amen.
Thank you, Rabbi Roberts, for all your kind words. Next to be speaking will be her brother Greg.
Everyone. So over the past few days, I've written down a lot of my thoughts. And at the end of it all, I decided that I don't know what I'm going to say. I decided I wanted to stand up here and look at all of you who have come with your support and your love, and to just speak with you about my sister and about how wonderful it was that we were blessed with her presence for 31 years. Of course, I've known her for 28 of those years. And, it's really it's really loss and the experience of loss, I feel, that reveals to us so much about life. And, why are we here today? We're here because of our intrinsic value of life, for life. That life is important. And so I just kind of wrote a list of some words of just one word reasons for life and for why perhaps we all value life. Joy, love, adventure, play, growth, music, experience, healing, sharing, giving, laughter, tears, connection, learning. I'm sure that you can add to this list. But all these things were a part of Hallie's experience. And they were part of what she shared with us. And so my prayer is to remember and to be grateful for the years that we did have with her. I think we all would. If we could, we would have more years with her. But the years we had were a blessing, and the memories will live on. So my prayer is let us keep our hearts open and share our stories and our memories of Hallie over the next few days. May we cry well, laugh well. And the love that we have for her is eternal. The love that she has for us is eternal, I believe. Just looking at some more of my notes here. Another thing that I wanted to share is I feel that sometimes in our culture there's too much shame in regards to mental illness. And it takes a lot of courage to seek help when you need it and to work on matters which need to be worked on. And I believe that learning this lesson is one of the best ways we can honor Hallie. To have the courage to know what we need in times of need. And I invite you all to keep your eyes and ears open over the next few days. Maybe the wind will blow in your hair in a certain way, if you have enough hair for that to happen. And you'll just remember her, and your thoughts will turn to her. And in that remembrance, there's a lot of comfort, and she's with us, just in a different way. And I'd like to share a song with you. It's by Debbie Friedman called Misha Berra. And if you know it, you're most welcome to sing along. So. the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berra imotenu, kor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. One more time. Misha Berra avotenu, kor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength that blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berra imotenu, kor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Thank you all for your presence here today.
Thank you, Greg. That was beautiful. Psalm 23. Hashem is my shepherd, I shall not lack. In lush meadows he lays my down beside tranquil water. He leads me, he restores my soul. He leads me on paths of justice for his name's sake. Though I walk in the valley, overshadowed by death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in view of my tormentors. You anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. My only goodness and kindness pursue me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of Hashem for long days. Protect me, O God, for I have sought refuge in you. You have said to Hashem, you are my master. I have no claim to your benefit. For the sake of the holy ones who are interred in the earth, and for the mighty, all my desires are fulfilled because of them. Their sorrows will multiply, those who rush after other. I shall not pour their blood libations nor carry their names upon my lips. Hashem is my allotted portion and my share. Your guide, my destiny. Portions have fallen to me in pleasant places. Even the inheritance is beautiful to me. I will bless Hashem, who has advised me. Also in the nights, my own intellect instructs me. I have set Hashem before me always, because he is at my right hand. I shall not falter. For the following reasons does my heart rejoice, and my soul is elated. My flesh too rests in confidence. Because you will not abandon my soul to the grave, you will not allow your devout one to witness destruction. You will make known to me the path of life, the fulfillment of joy in your presence, the delights that you are in your right hand for eternity. I'd like to welcome now Uncle Mark to speak.
Thank you all for coming here. I just want to say what a wonderful thing it is to see what a man Greg has become. Proud of you. Debbie and Michael, Sam. I just thought I'd just talk about how we all feel so helpless. And I remember the day I first met Hallie. On the day she was born, I was coming from the hospital where I had a chemotherapy treatment, and I remember thinking I wondered if I'd ever live long enough to see her grow up. And I got to the hospital where she was born and got onto the floor in the delivery area, the nursery. I remember hearing this one baby wailing so loud, and I thought, I wonder if that's Hallie. Well, I got to the window where she was lying, crying her lungs out, face beet red, and then a nurse came by to clean her with, I suspect, a warm washcloth. And as soon as the nurse put the cloth on Hallie, she quieted down immediately and furrowed her brow like, that feels nice. And I'll just never forget that. And then she was maybe 2 years old, and I took her on her first sledding ride in Solon. I forget the name. Got in the sled with her, put her in front of me, and started nudging the sled forward, and she started saying, no, 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 no. I pushed on, and we went down the hill. Quite fun, as you can well imagine. I started pulling her back up to do it again, and got in the sled again, started nudging forward. No, 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 no. We went down, and so I started pulling her up, slipped, almost let go of the rope, but we got to the top, and I got in the thing again, and she suddenly said to me, I want to go by myself. I was stunned, and so I straightened it out to aim her in the position that she needed to go, and gave her a little nudge, and she she started going down. And I didn't tell her not to hold on to the brakes. And she held on to the brake on the right side. So she started veering to the right, started cutting across all these sleds coming down in front of her and behind her. And I was like, there's nothing I could do. I felt so helpless. And I felt helpless more recently. I guess she had a lot of expectations. The first time I got that clue was when Deb and Michael came to my house in Cleveland Heights at the time, kind of a farmhouse. It wasn't a fancy house. They came late at night because Debbie was going into labor with Gregory. And Hallie was fast asleep in the car, and they decided it would be a good idea to drop her off at my house. And so put her on this bed, and they went off to have Gregory. And come morning, I woke up early thinking, it could be a little disorienting for Hallie to wake up in a strange place. So I sat by her while she slept, and then finally she stirred, woke up, and I said to her, "You're at Uncle Mark's house." She looked around and sat up and said, "What kind of house is this?" She was a very talented person, and we often feel helpless in life, and I certainly felt helpless at times. I know we all did, and we're all helpless now to take care of her. So, as Greg said, we're here to celebrate her life and all the wonderful good deeds that she did, all the students she taught, and all the people she loved. So, thanks for letting me share those stories about her. I appreciate that. And I will miss you, and I will always love you, Hallie. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Mark. Next to speak will be Hallie's cousin, Jason. Just come on up.
Hello, everybody. Just in case you don't know who I am, my name is Jason Kutash. Hallie was my first cousin. My mom is the sister of Michael. Yeah, I just can't believe we're here today, as everyone else I'm sure feels. Just deeply saddened by what we lately found out. I just want to say to Greg, by the way, real quick, that was an amazing job you did. Thanks, by the way, Nancy. But that was an amazing job you did right there, and that would be everything we would expect for you to do for your sister. So you made us all very proud of you. I just wanted to come up here and say a little bit about Hallie to all you guys as well. She was my first cousin. She was a couple years younger than me. Of course, don't remember when I was a baby, but I could just imagine how happy our families were. My mom, my dad, my Aunt Debbie, Uncle Mike, my grandparents. To have two happy, healthy little babies, a boy and a girl. I mean, what else could you want at that point in time? So, of course, I have a lot of memories with us as kids and our whole family. I mean, being over at Sater's at Richie and Linda's house with 30, 40 plus people, just all the kids hanging out, having a great time with Michelle and David, who are our older cousins that we, of course, always loved so much and had a great time with. I remember having a lot of great trips to Florida with our grandparents, that they would take us there every year, and sometimes Aunt Debbie, Uncle Mike, and all the kids would come with us, and we just would have an unbelievable time for a week during our winter vacation. I furthermore, when I was a younger kid, I always loved hanging out with the kids, especially Jeremy, to say the least. But I remember I remember I would babysit for them, of course, more so for Jeremy than anybody else. But Hallie and Greg were always there, and we just got so close during those times. It was really just a lot of fun, and I really actually enjoyed doing it. I don't know why, but I just enjoyed doing it. And there was this one day, I'm sure Aunt Debbie and Uncle Mike know what I'm talking about already, but I don't know what I was doing. We were playing outside, and all of a sudden I just kind of heard a car going, and I'm like, okay, didn't think much of it. It was in the neighborhood. And next thing I know, I heard like a crash, and we run out, and Hallie had took my car and backed it out of the driveway, and I guess came back up, and she didn't stop enough, so she drove into the refrigerator that was in the garage. Again, I didn't see any of this. Next thing I know, I just walk into the refrigerator having no door. So, Hallie, do you have any idea what happened to the door? No, I don't know. Okay, well, I don't know either, and I don't even remember who discovered this, but she hid it in her closet. So, I will never forget that. That's honest to God's truth. But that was an amazing story. And then we all know, when I think I was 16, this is going back a ways, but I remember getting a call that, unfortunately something happened to Jeremy, and so we had to get back in town to take care of this. And I know that had a lasting impact on all of our lives. Sorry. But the one thing that whenever I looked at Hallie, forever, I always saw Jeremy's face. I just thought they looked so much alike. So, I will definitely miss that about Hallie more than almost anything. But again, she was a great girl. We had so many good times together, and as everyone else said, we just need to respect and appreciate her life and the times that we did have with her. And just as a result of everyone else being here, I mean, this is pretty amazing. So, thank you guys.
Thank you, Jason. I'm pretty sure it was Jeremy who found the refrigerator door, if I remember correctly. All right, I'd like to invite up Liz Rogowski, if she's here. I'm not sure if she's able to speak or not, but she was Hallie's best friend, and Hallie would always refer to her as a sister. So.
Yeah, I just didn't want to be a bubbling mess, but this isn't necessarily what I thought I would be doing at 31. We were supposed to grow old together. I was going through a lot of our notes from when we were kids, because I've known her since 5th grade. She was so goofy, and I just fell in love with her. Like, it was like literally falling in love with somebody, in a friend kind of way. There's so many stories I could tell, but I guess the one that stands out is the memory of how we really became really close friends. She really wanted to try out for Peter Pan. And she was like, "You should come with me." And I was just like, I don't think anyone's going to want to listen to my voice. Especially a musical. But we tried out, and I ended up just singing the same song as her, and she taught it to me. But it's kind of the Peter Pan idea really not wanting to grow up. I also went through a lot of our past conversations and my voicemails that I still have on my phone. And she just really had a hard time growing up. And I guess we've all kind of talked about the struggles, and it wasn't always like that. It wasn't. She was so happy and go-lucky and goofy and just like had this zest for life, like that I had never met anyone like that before. I mean, she was so talented. We both loved music. I played the clarinet. She played the trumpet. We were in the band. Greg was always so great at the piano. I remember just listening to him, and I used to babysit for Jeremy too. He hated my macaroni and cheese. Everything kind of changed when Jeremy died or passed away. There was just like a dark cloud that came, and it was just really hard. And Hallie's life got really hard. But I mean, she still was so resilient. She still was so strong. Well, like her just passion. She went to college. I mean, we made the best memories in college. I would go down to OSU to visit her and her roommates, but they were also like my good friends. And they would make bets about when I would actually leave because I never wanted to leave them because they were my best friends. And then, you know, we've kind of had our years apart. I live far away now. But every time I came into town, I always try to make time. But it got hard. It got really hard in the last couple of years. I wanted so much more for her. I wanted my best friend back. I wanted her to see the happiness in life. I know she had it in her, and I know she is happy now, and she's being a big sister to Jeremy up there, and maybe my grandma's there. She meant so much to me. I really will have her in my heart forever, and I know she'll be in everyone's hearts that she ever touched. She was my swirly, and I was her peachy. I'm so sorry for being a mess. I just, really hope she's happy. I just want her to be happy. And Greg, that song was so awesome. Thank you. And I love all of you Steins. You guys have been a second family to me, and thank you for everything. And I love you guys. And I love you, Hallie. And I can't do it anymore.
Thank you so much, Liz. I know that wasn't easy for you, but I know Hallie appreciated it very much. She loved everyone in her family so desperately, and she just wanted the same kind of love in return. Next I'll be saying Ishes Chayil. An accomplished woman who can find far beyond pearls is her value. Her husband's heart relies on her, and he shall lack no fortune. She repays his good, but never his harm, all the days of her life. She seeks out wool and linen, and her hands work willingly. She is like a merchant ship's. From afar she brings her sustenance. She arises while it is yet nighttime, and gives food to her household, and a ration to to her maidens. She envisions a field and buys it. From the fruit of her handiwork, she planted a vineyard. In Hallie's case, it was blackberry bushes. With strength, she girds her loins and invigorates her arms. He discerns that her enterprise is good. Oh, her lamp is not snuffed out by night. Her hand she stretches out to the distaff, and her palms support the spindle. She was always there for her friends. He spreads out her palm to the door, or she spreads out her palm to the door, and extends her hands to the destitute. She fears not snow for her household, for her entire household is clothed with scarlet wool. Luxurious bedspreads she made herself. Linen and purple wool are her clothing. Distinctive in the councils is her husband when she sits with the elders of the land. She makes a cloak to sell and delivers a belt to the peddler. Strength and majesty are her raiment. She joyfully awaits the last day. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and a lesson of kindness is on her tongue. She anticipates the way of her household, and partakes not of the bread of laziness. Her children arise and praise her, her husband, and he lauds her. Many daughters have amassed achievement, but Hallie surpassed them all. False is grace, and vain is beauty. A God-fearing woman, Hallie should always be praised. Give her the fruits of her hand, and let her be praised in the gates by her very own deeds. At this time, if there's anyone else, friends or family, who'd like to come up and say anything on her behalf, I welcome them up here. Otherwise, the service is over at this point, and we'll be going to the cemetery, Mount Olive, and continuing the services there. Thank you.